I want you to imagine a small town by the sea, where the waves crash softly against a worn jetty, and gulls drift overhead. In that town lived a young woman named Mira. Since childhood, Mira loved painting. She'd wake before dawn just to see the colors shift in the sky and try to capture them on canvas. But Mira had a secret fear. She believed her work would never measure up to the famed artists she saw in magazines, online galleries, or local exhibitions. Every time she posted a painting on social media, she'd scroll through the comments and comparisons. So-and-so's work looks better. Your use of color is okay but needs improvement. Or the most insidious, silence. She thought, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Eventually, she stopped posting altogether. One evening, she took a walk along the cliff by the lighthouse. The sea was stormy, wind whipping salt spray into her face. She felt small and uncertain. At the very edge of the cliff, she noticed an older man sitting on a bench, sketching something in a worn leather notebook. She hesitated, then walked over. He didn't look up. She cleared her throat. Mind if I see what you're drawing? He nodded, hands continuing their motion. She leaned in. It was a sketch of the lighthouse, dramatic waves smashing around its base. The lines were rough, emphatic, powerful. It had a raw honesty she found deeply moving. You draw beautifully, she said softly. He finally looked up. He had warm, kind eyes. Thank you. My name's Elias. I draw what I see and sometimes what I feel, Mira said. Sometimes I feel like I'll never be good enough. I compare myself to others all the time. I've stopped sharing my work. Elias paused, then smiled and said, let me tell you something. Many years ago, when I was younger, people told me my sketches looked childish, that I should study the classics, copy the masters, refine my style. I did for a while, but every time I tried to imitate someone else, my lines felt hollow. I lost the part of me that was genuine. Mira listened, heart pounding. One day I burned most of my old sketches. I kept only the ones done when I didn't care how they looked, only how they felt. Those were the ones I connected with. From that day on, I promised myself, I will draw not to impress but to express. And slowly people began to notice, not because I copied them but because I stayed true to myself. Mira asked, but what about skill? What about being good enough? Elias shook his head. Skill grows over time, but what people truly remember is authenticity. He handed her the sketchbook. See if there's something there that speaks to you. Not as a benchmark, but as an echo of what's inside you. Over the next days, Mira spent hours with the sketchbook and her own canvases. She let go of the urge to compare. She painted storms, calm seas, fragments of the sky. She painted when she was sad, hopeful, frustrated. She painted when no one was watching. Months passed. One morning, she walked into a small gallery by the docks that hosted local artists. She approached the owner, who was setting up a show. To her surprise, the owner recognized her by name from her old posts. He asked if she had anything to show. With trembling hands, Mira offered one of her stormy seascapes. The owner studied it, then smiled. This feels alive. It's honest. I want to include it in next week's exhibit. The night of the exhibit, Mira stood quietly in a corner. People passed by, pausing, whispering to one another. She heard things like, look at her brushwork. This is so moving. Who is this artist? One person came up to her and said, your work stands out because it speaks. It feels like something raw and real. Tears came to her eyes. She realized she'd spent so long hiding, comparing, doubting, and now this moment felt like a kind of victory. At the end of the evening, the gallery owner came by and said, I want to show you something. He led her behind a partition into a small storage room. On the wall was a massive canvas, one she recognized. It was the lighthouse sketch Elias had drawn that night by the cliff, but blown up, framed, displayed. He turned and said, You inspired this. I asked the gentleman who made that sketch who he is. He told me he wants to remain anonymous. But when I saw your painting beside it tonight, I understood. It's not about who's more skilled. It's about two voices speaking from the same place, yours and his. Showing side by side, they complete each other. Mira stood stunned. That older man, Elias, had plucked up courage to share his own piece through her, and she'd been indirectly part of it. Two people's genuine voices meeting, not competing. She realized then comparing is pointless. The goal is not to be better than someone else, but to be a version of you that's unashamed and true. So if you ever feel small, lost in comparison, remember, Mira, paint your own storms, sketch your own skies, speak your own truth. You are not in a race with anyone else. If you like this story, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I promise, more stories like this are coming.